many retirees living in this area. We also have allied students from around the world come to school on the military side to study weapon systems. The hospital takes care of them and their families also. Coming up on the left, the largest rocket is the Saturn I in the early days of the space program. The rocket to its right with a V on it is a German V-2 rocket used against London, England, and parts of Belgium in World War II. One of the scientists who helped develop the V-2 was Dr. Werner von Braun. Towards the end of World War II, the Russian army was moving through Germany so rapidly they were about to capture Dr. von Braun and his team. He made contact with the Western Allies and arranged to surrender to the U.S. Army. He and 100 or so other rocket scientists surrendered, bringing with them many valuable documents on the V-2 system, plus enough components to assemble several hundred. They were brought to this country, here to White Sands, where they continued their work for a short period of time, transferred here in 1950. First stop of the day is called a neutral buoyancy simulator. In this building is a large tank of water, 75 feet in diameter, 40 foot deep. That's about 1.3 million gallons of water in the tank. This is where the astronauts train to go up in space in a space suit. They enter the water wearing a space suit and they achieve what's known as neutral buoyancy. That's the only way we can simulate being weightless for a long period of time on Earth is in a neutral buoyancy condition in the water. We'll see a tape which will explain how they do this, how they train, and then we'll walk upstairs, second level, you get to walk all the way around, look in the tank, you'll see a shuttle cargo bay at the bottom. It's a mock-up, but it is a full scale. And you take pictures, look at some tools that are there that they use in space. Also, you'll see the space suit room where they actually repair the space suit used here in the tank. There is a smaller tank in Houston, but most of the training is done right here in this large tank.
Anywhere, engineers and astronauts are able to turn every bolt, grip every handhold, and check out every other minute detail of a mission in a simulated weightless environment, all without ever leaving the ground. With the neutral buoyancy simulator, NASA astronauts.
They have it for swimming, available for swimming.
Okay, we're going to be going pretty soon, folks.
Sucker at. Skip. Yeah, it's supposed to be working.
One on the right is the U.S. Scientific Lab. There'll be two other labs Japanese have one, and the European Space Agency have one. One going on to this one, which is the European Space Agency. One to the left is a habitation module. That's where they'll live while they're in space, eat, sleep, exercise, and personal hygiene, and waste management, which they're having in space. The round device on top is the escape hatch. It will be on the bottom of the space house, going straight down, and actually there's probably two of them. Two man, two-person craft will bring back to Earth in case something goes wrong. They can't get in the craft. Blast off the rocket engine, splash down in the ocean, and be rescued like it did the Mercury and Gemini days. Yeah, take off with you.
They said they kept the food.
I don't know.
I think so.
Everyone in. Someone close that door if you will, please, and help the noise.
Test fire of the first stage of the Saturn V. Today it's been modified. We use it to test fire the main of the shuttle engine. There's 3 of those on the rear of the winged orbiter that we looked at earlier, and we'll talk more about that testing shortly. Over to the right, 2 round water tanks hold 7 million gallons of water. To their right, 13 diesel engines drive the pumps and pump the water out of the tanks at a rate of 180,000 gallons per minute. That water is sent through an 8-foot underground line to the large. Would have to go inside the building and close those thick doors so they can be safe from the noise and the trembling of the earth. Now that is not necessary with this smaller engine that we're testing here today. That was in the Saturn V days. And on the back wall is thick glass windows that they used to watch from inside the building. Through those windows, they'd look down in the big stand during the test fire, and they'd be safe inside the building. Again, that's not necessary with a smaller engine. In fact, I've had several groups out. We actually witnessed the test fire of this engine in the last 6 or 8 months.
Did water line. Did you see it? 8-foot water line.
We didn't come into here. We stayed behind the fence back here where we entered the gate. We got off the bus. People had videos and they taped it. This smaller stand on the left was also used in the Saturn V program and the Gemini program. One F1 engine at the time was tested here. It would create 1.5 million modifications, which does indicate they would probably use it again. That's where they pump the water to control the flames and the heat. We have a basin on our left. This was the catch basin during the Saturn V days. After a test fire will be the stand. First the water would turn to steam when it made contact with the hot flame deflector. And some of the steam would just float on out of the area. The rest of it would condense back to liquid and collect here in this basin. And after it cooled, they would check it for impurities. If none were found, they pumped it to the right into the backwaters of the Tennessee River. We're now on the back side of a large stand that we first used, built for the first stage of the Saturn V. Today is used to test fire the main of the shuttle engine, 3 of those on the rear of the winged orbiter, and we test one at a time here. If you look at the first opening area where the yellow lights are, about the center you'll see a nozzle. That is a nozzle of a main or shuttle engine that we test here today. This engine is being developed for the future, be more fuel efficient, and help lift the larger payload into orbit. Fuel is used in liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. The liquid hydrogen is stored in the little round tank to the upper left at negative 423 degrees Fahrenheit. The cylinder tank to the right is the oxygen tank stored at negative 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And those are the fuels used by this main or shuttle engine. Anybody want to step out and take a picture? Everybody got a picture, wants one. We have many turtles here at the bottom. If they went down, it would have created a large crater, so they brought them out across the road. And also the water was being pumped inside to help extinguish the flames. Up and down the sides, there's some 6-centimeter holes all up and down the sides, and that's where the water is braided. Now with the smaller engine we test today, we only use 4 out of the 13 pumps to pump water in for the smaller engine, and the flames barely come out the bottom. By modifying this test stand, which was not in use, we saved millions of dollars for this main or shuttle engine project. And after this project is completed, we can modify it for other engines. So this stand has a long future ahead of it. The 2 round tanks to the right are liquid hydrogen. They were oxygen tanks, but ours other such talk. This is where they arrived in 1950. They worked for the U.S. Army. It was up to it. And it was like that. However, it was there in 1970.
has always been a case of mind over matter. The science of speed has progressed through a series of imaginative discoveries. One idea leads to another. Each time an invention is refined and improved, it allows us to go that bit faster. Freed us from that most stubborn obstacle to speed, friction between vehicle and ground.
I feel just like a king, I can hear the angels sing, I can do most anything up in the blue. I left my problems on the ground, though my cares are upside down, you know where I can be found, up in the blue.
Aviation took a flying leap forward with the invention of the jet engine, but then an invisible limit was reached.
Throughout time, man has learned to travel faster and faster, but now, in 1946, that progress may be coming to a screeching halt. It now appears to aviators and scientists alike that there is a speed barrier that is impossible to conquer. The sound barrier. At speeds about 600 miles per hour, P-38s, P-47s, and even the most modern P-80 jet fighters encounter mysterious forces that rip them apart. The result? Tragedy. The latest casualty is Britain's #1 test pilot, Jeffrey de Havilland, who only last week challenged the sonic barrier in his swept-wing swallow aircraft. As he approached the speed of sound, his airplane suddenly disintegrated. The reason? Unknown. Scientists now theorize that at sonic speed, air packs up in front of an airplane like snow before a snowplow, creating an invisible wall that is impossible to penetrate. Many airmen now fear that the speed of sound is the fastest man will ever travel. Undaunted by previous disasters, aeronautic engineers are pushing ahead against staggering odds to conquer the mysterious sound barrier, testing new airplane shapes in sophisticated wind tunnels. Their latest design, the Bell X-1, as much a rocket ship as it is an airplane. And now the moment of truth is at hand. Can he succeed where so many others have died trying? Will the controversial X-1 be America's biggest success or most tragic failure? And now in this exclusive film, the X-1 reaches critical speed. No airplane has ever traveled this fast and survived. Will the X-1 be torn apart? The X-1 has broken the sound barrier. This is a stunning triumph of imagination and perseverance as man once again conquers the unknown. Mark this day, October 14, 1947, as test pilot Charles E. Yeager becomes, at 700 miles per hour, the fastest man in history.
The engine, creating enormous thrust. The principle of the jet engine works beautifully, unless, of course, you decide to go someplace where there is no air. Unlike the jet engine, The rocket works in outer space because it needs no air.
It must have been moonglow, way up in the blue.
We're standing by for voice communications from the Apollo 10 crew.
Always
Apollo 10. Hello, Apollo 10, Houston. Roger, Houston. We've got a fantastic universe. Glad to have you on our way back home. Roger, we are returning to the Earth.
See, this is one of the early prototype deals. They were just experimenting with different. Here's the Mercury. There's a Mercury gasoline competition. That's one like Alan Shepard wrote in space. Okay. Well, they always converted into There's one of them Humvees over there.
Well, now what's the rocket thing there?
Yeah, that's a launcher there too. And we got that
What is that?
missile. We got one of them deals around on the other side. Well, you can see one of them right over yonder. They got a lot of stuff. They brought that Cobra helicopter in here. That's not a Cobra there. That's a Huey. That's the ones like you used in Vietnam. That's a Huey there. But anyway, we got a Cobra sitting down at the aviation. They brought that thing. Sitting down at the made. In fact, the movie Marine, you'll see I've got a bottle of one inside.
This thing's carried by B-52 and released the height was 45,000 feet. And in the air.
Oh, this is a missile.
We got storage after the store filters and all kinds of stuff like that.
Damn. Say cheese.
Cheese.